Here on Treaty 7 territory, nestled in the Rocky Mountains with the mighty Bow River at an altitude of 1,309 meters. Born from coal dust in 1884 and ever-changing, this is Canmore, and we are Canmorites, and this is the Canmorite podcast. Let's go. Hey there, it's me, Jeff Law. Welcome back to the Canmorite podcast. We're on episode 22 as we're moving through all the stuff of the municipal election. And speaking of elections, we have another super important one. It's for school board trustee. And here I'm excited because in Canmore, we got some new candidates running for various school board trustees. And with me today, I have got
Anne Kontokosta.
Anne Kontokosta. Welcome to the podcast. It's really great to have you here. So Anne, you're running for one of the two positions for a Canmore School Board Trustee with CRPS. And tell me about what motivated you to want to kick in and run this time, because you're brand new and I think a lot of people are curious about who you are.
Yeah, I'll tell you about myself. I born and raised in Edmonton, in a family that was really involved in public education. So my mom was a nurse, but she was always on the PTA, and my dad was a high school teacher and then taught in the Department of Education at U of A.
Mhm.
So we talked about education a lot around the dinner table, and I knew from kind of early on that it was always important to be engaged in your own education, and that took me a long way. I went to U of A and studied anthropology and classics.
Oh,
And
wow.
then I went to the University of Pennsylvania and I studied Latin and Greek. And then I got a PhD in Roman art and archaeology from the Institute of Fine Arts at New York University. So I've been doing a sort of combination of post-secondary teaching and academic research ever
Wow.
since.
So you're really steeped in the world of learning
Yeah.
and in academia. But at
Yeah,
the
I
same.
have about 15 years of teaching experience, slightly older kids than we're talking about here, but
Yeah.
still. Um, I was really fortunate that when I left to go to graduate school, my
Yeah.
whole family moved from Edmonton to Canmore.
Wow.
So
Amazing.
Canmore has been our sort of family home for almost 20 years now, and my mom lives down the block from me, and my sister's kids and my kids got to go to school together.
Mhm.
So I have two sons and two nephews at CRPS.
Oh, so they're in the system right now. So you have a definite
Yes.
lived experience of what kids are
Yeah,
doing
so I
here.
have a son in grade 6 and a son in grade 10. So Lawrence Grassi
Oh.
and CCHS.
Um,
And one of the things I really love about Canmore is just that the accessibility of the schools for parents. Like I've been able to get really involved in the schools. I've been on the ERS, LGMS, and CCHS parent councils. I've actually
wow.
been on the LGMS parent council since 2019. And my
Oh my
second son
gosh.
is only in grade 6, so I have years still to go. Um,
Yeah.
but I've been the chair
Mhm.
since 20 well, for the last 3 years, which has been great. It's been great to get experience going to trustee meetings, and I've been on the Community Education Network,
Mhm.
and I sat on the committee for the Trustee Legacy Scholarship last year. And I've also been able to go into classrooms. So I have been asked to teach. I
Oh
taught
wow.
archaeology in kindergarten,
Yeah.
and I taught Carthage and Machu Picchu in grade 3, and I taught classical Athens for grade 6. And when I was supposed to talk about democracy in grade 2 next week at
This would have been
ERS, but
perfect.
there's a strike.
Strike. I know.
And this year, new for the grade 6 curriculum is Republican Rome, and that is actually my area of expertise. So I'm going to both Alpenglow and Lawrence Grassi to talk to grade 6 about Republican Rome. So I'm like in and out of the schools in all different capacities, really, which I love.
Amazing. And so your credentials are par excellence. And also your volunteer level is huge because I've seen you do stuff on parent council. I see the emails, I see the continual level of support that we get from our volunteer councils from parents. It's amazing. I think, could you talk a little bit more about the role of what a school board trustee does? Because I think some people have a loose idea of what it means, and
Yeah,
some people could love the clarification. So that way we
yeah.
know why this is such an important thing to vote for.
Jeff, it's like the number one people the question people ask me when
Hmm.
they find out I'm running for trustee. They're like, "What do they do?"
Yeah.
Because I think some people think they're involved in curriculum or maybe involved in like personnel in hiring or even involved in strike negotiations, and that is just not the case for any of those things.
Okay.
Their main role is to set the sort of long-term strategic goals for the school district. So
Okay.
kind of the priorities, which you know have been focusing on diversity, have been focusing on mental health, really strong academics, celebrating nature, all the nature integration in that we have in our classrooms here.
Hmm.
Um, a really important one is budget. It
Yep.
sounds boring, but it is really key. And the budget for CRPS last year was, it's almost $40 million a year.
Yep.
So making sure that that is well taken care of is really important. They also are responsible for sort of advocating for extra funding and resources if needed, to be advocates for the community, for all the stakeholders in the community. So that's for teachers and for families and for students and for other members of the community as well. And although they don't actually have anything to do with hiring or of teachers, for example,
Hmm.
they do oversee the superintendent.
Right.
So
Okay.
those are the sort of primary roles of the trustees.
It's a lot, right? And so in terms of strategy, I'm assuming because we'll be entering a new 4-year cycle. Will there be a
Yeah.
new strategic plan devised by
Yeah.
the two new, by the various like members? Okay, well that's huge. So this is a very pivotal time because
Yeah.
it's
And
the
just the way that the 4-year plans worked, when the last 4-year plan was sort of created at a time when we were just we were coming out of
it
COVID.
was crazy time.
So things are, and everyone, we were really concerned with kids' mental health. We were really concerned with catching them up on learning that they may have missed, when we were all homeschooling and stuff like that. So we're in a different position now than
Hmm.
we were then. And there is a new 4-year plan. It's already been instituted starting this year. And I was involved with these. It's called the Community Education Network. They bring together stakeholders from the community, you know, parents and students and teachers and doctors and, business owners and a whole bunch of like everybody who cares about education in the Bow Valley to come together and brainstorm about where the school should go to next. And I was involved in that last year and was happy that sort of about the priorities that came out of them. One was future readiness
Yeah,
for,
so tell us more about like, if you're to be in the role, what are some of your like pieces that you're particularly passionate about that kids in our school board should be benefiting from over the next couple of
yeah.
years?
I mean, um, this idea of future ready, like, I mean, Canmore kids are the best. They're
You're
so
pretty
awesome.
lucky.
Right? I
Yeah.
know I'm totally biased,
Yeah.
but they are so great. And you want them to be prepared to go out into the world. And there's a lot of things about the world right now that maybe don't seem so great. I don't need to sound dire, but there's this uncertain economy, worrying about, AI and where job markets are going to be in 10 years, worrying about there's really high levels of unemployment with young
Oh, for sure.
adults coming out, really high levels of unhappiness
Hmm.
also with young people. Um, and I think that just making sure that the kids that leave our school district are really well prepared, whether they want to like go into trades, whether they want to go into academia, whether they want to live in the Bow Valley, whether they want to leave the Bow Valley, that they are ready to do that. And I advocated for that at they call it future readiness.
Future
I like to call
readiness.
it future proofing.
Hmm.
I advocated for that in the meetings last year and was really thrilled that that was going to be a focus for
Hmm.
CRPS going forward over the next 4 years. You know, even just like grade point averages to get into university now.
It's
There's an
crazy.
in the CBC. It's crazy compared to when I
Oh,
went to school. You just like walk in.
I know. Well, I remember like when I went into mechanical engineering way back, like we're
Yeah,
going into the way back machine, like
yeah,
1994, and I had a pretty good percentage. And I saw a stat in an article what it took to get into like say like first year engineering at U of C today,
yeah.
and I was like,
It's I
How's that
know.
possible, that number?
And nursing and like
Yeah.
kinesiology, the numbers are like through the roof. So obviously, um, we want to make sure that academically everyone is really well prepared, but
Hmm.
also, having taught post-secondary for years and years, I see
Yeah.
these kids coming out of high school. And I think the ones that are really successful are not just the ones that have that academic solid foundation, but
Hmm.
the ones that have really good critical thinking skills. So
Huge.
important right now when we have, misinformation all over the place. But also, time management, are good test takers, can take notes, know how to do research,
Hmm.
these kinds of executive functioning skills that are really important. And so
Hmm.
it's not just academics, it's
Nope.
this whole package. And also, this isn't like a high school problem. It starts with like literacy and numeracy
Hmm.
and learning support in elementary school. It starts with making sure our classrooms are not overcrowded, that
Yep.
our teachers have the supports that they needed, because these classrooms are becoming more and more complex.
Yep.
And
Absolutely. Like I have
so it's a problem that starts in kindergarten,
it
and
compounds.
yeah, and it compounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's something I'm really passionate about. I think I have the skill set to come up with really good ideas and to make sure
Amazing.
it gets done.
Yeah. Like one thing that I really hope that my kids, and they're in the programs right now. Like my oldest, she is in grade 8, so she's going to be making
Yep.
the leap to CCH
Yeah,
next year. Holy heck.
I
And
know.
my youngest, she's in grade 5 at LGMS, and they've had like really great education coming up to this point. And but one of the things that I really want them to have like an increased capacity with is the ability to respond to change.
Yeah.
And when
You
you're
have to be
talking, you
resilient.
gotta be resilient and you gotta be
Yeah.
able to deal with change. Like, and just putting on
Yeah.
my other hat right now as like a town counselor, that's something that I feel a lot of people struggle with. I know we
Yeah.
came out of the pandemic, people were not good,
Yeah.
and change is a real tough thing for people to handle. But I feel as we go through, change is a constant, and it's just going to
Yeah.
be just trucking along. And yeah, like we just have to like really, if our kids have that capacity and confidence, say, hey, the situation is changing, but I can respond to this. I have tools I can fall back on.
Yeah.
Massive chance of success in
Yeah.
adulthood. Um, so what are some pieces currently like what compelled you to run? Was like, oftentimes people run for stuff and there's certain things they see in the status quo. They're like, I think we could do this more, we could do this less. What triggered it for you to like make the big leap? Because campaigning sucks, and
Yeah.
we're putting ourselves out there.
Yeah.
What got you in the game, man? Because people ask you like, wow, like this is cool that these people are running, but what's the big push to like, there's a trigger point there.
I mean, I honestly, I got it
Yeah.
involved first,
Hmm.
to advocate for my own kids, and
Yeah.
then their friends, and then their class, and then it just gets bigger and bigger, and then you meet more and more kids, in the Bow Valley, all these awesome kids, and it just makes you want to do more. And
Mm.
I think that, again, I felt like I was well equipped to
Yeah.
do this job,
Hmm.
to get involved first with parent council and to get involved, but to get involved at the school district. That's why I started going to trustee meetings. I wanted to know what was happening because
Hmm.
that's just the way I am.
Yeah.
And I didn't get involved because I think we need some massive break with the status quo. Like
Hmm.
I think I'm overall a very positive person, and I think that the school district has, there's always things that need to change.
Hmm.
And there's always things that we need to do better,
Hmm.
as a community for our kids.
Hmm.
But I think that the key is to focus on moving forward.
Okay.
The key is to focus on sort of innovative solutions. The key is to make those kids resilient. The kid be child focused, to think about what they need, to support the teachers, to support families. I don't necessarily think that I'm getting involved because there's something I want to drastically change.
Mhm. So it's almost
Uh,
like a natural progression for you as you went
yeah,
between roles. Say, okay, well, I've have this skill set, I have this competency,
yeah.
I understand it at this level. There's another layer, and then yeah, I should try for
I,
trustee.
I felt too like I had to get off the LGMS parent council because it was getting embarrassing because
What
I
do you
had
mean?
for so long that I was the only person like who had started so far.
We need the institutional knowledge. We need that
I
knowledge,
know,
okay?
I know. I'd be like, well, back in 2020.
Yeah. I remember that one time. Yeah, but like that is valued, and thank you for holding down the fort there, Anne.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh. And so how can people find out more about, say, your platform or learn about you or connect with you in person? Because, kids are super important and I think people are just really curious how they can like find out. Because we see your signs. Like what other
Yep.
ways can people reach you? Yeah.
I have signs.
Yeah, oh
If
yeah,
you'd like
signs are
a
good.
sign,
Uh-huh.
let me know. I have a website. It's annefortrustee.ca.
Okay.
And I have an email address, which is annefortrustee@gmail.com.
Okay.
So, and it has been really nice. I'm like reconnecting with people. I'm going out for coffee a lot. I'm getting a lot
Wow.
of emails, and it's like, let's go for coffee and talk about this. And, because people really are engaged and they have opinions and they want to be, they want to give you good advice.
Hmm.
And so, people are reaching out and that's it's an easy way to do it is through email. I'm not really on social media. I did make a Facebook page, which is Anne for Trustee,
Yeah,
and I'm not very creative with that.
that's fine. It doesn't have
But
to be.
yeah, I'm one of these people who's like has a Facebook page but has never posted. I just like to, know what my friends from elementary school are doing
Exactly. What are those guys doing? Yeah.
or where my niece is going this weekend. So I also I encourage my kids not to be on social media. So I have
For
a
sure.
pretty low profile social media.
Hmm.
But if you want to email me, that's the way to get in touch, or check me out on my website, and there's more information about my platform and what I want to run for and where I come from.
Yeah. Awesome. So Anne, we're gonna probably wind it down pretty quick here. So like people know how to get hold of you, and I
Yep,
totally empathize with the social media piece. I keep my kids off
it's
the
hard.
socials. I need to model that, so I try not to be on the socials much as well. And
Yeah,
and I kind of lean into a lot of conversations, like different
yeah.
modalities like this, where podcasts we can have a conversation and learn more. In closing, is there anything else that you'd like people to know? When it comes down to like this Monday, October 20th, 2025, when they're going through all their pieces of who to elect and they get to that school board trustee section,
Yeah.
what's something they should remember about you, Anne, at that moment?
Well, I think, I really do believe that there's a bright future for CRPS, and I want to be a part of that. I think I have the experience as a teacher and as a parent and as a advocate for other families at all of the schools, getting involved with administration, getting involved with the trustees, being, part of this community. I really think I can do a good job, and I believe in accountability and I believe in transparency, and I'm passionate about public education. And so if I'm elected, I'm going to throw myself into this. It's going to be fun.
Awesome. Well, and as a parent who has like been under your situation where we are served by you guys as parent council, I've always been really satisfied, and I'm super happy that you're running. And folks, we're going to wind the podcast down. But remember, check out the candidates or school board trustee. Remember, this part is important because these are kids, this is
Yeah.
our future. So make sure you vote. Okay. So
Yes.
thank you so much, and thank you so much, Anne, for taking the time.
Thanks, Jeff.
Take care.